Oh, internet world. Hope everyone's doing fantastic today. I'm checking on the phone over here, make sure we're actually live and on the internet somewhere. But we're super excited for today. I will do a grand introduction momentarily while we just kind of wait for people to join in and check on us. But I have a super exciting guest, um, the wonderful, magical Dave Moss. Hi, Dave.
Hey, how's it going?
It's good. Sorry, I'm gonna just turn the volume down on that. So, all right, we're in. We're live. We're going through things here. So, I am excited to have you finally join us here, Dave. I think I've asked you many times for your expertise, your advice, your things. So you are the Dave Moss from Dave Moss Coaching, and you do a lot of really cool things. Tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background. What do you do, Dave?
What don't I do? So my wife and I have been photographers primarily focused on weddings for 14 years now. We started our business 3 months after we started dating. So our business is as old as our relationship. And yeah, grew and loved that. And one of the things that I always loved about running a business was the running a business part, a thing a lot of creatives don't super enjoy. So early on into our business, took a lot of courses, read a lot of books, and then just ended up, as my friend said, becoming the helpful guy on the internet. So whenever creatives or photographers had questions or problems or whatever, that just so happened that I would get asked, or I would be in that Facebook group, or I would always have something to say, which eventually grew into my now coaching practice. In 2017, I took some training to help people with themselves, because one of the things that I always noticed working with entrepreneurs and working with creatives is that we are our greatest strengths, but often our own worst enemies. So I wanted to understand more about that and took a year-long training to really dive deep and understand that. And so for the last 5 years full-time now, I have been running a coaching practice for creative entrepreneurs. Most of my clients are photographers, but I also have a fashion designer, some graphic designers, someone who started a magazine. It's kind of all over the place, but I work with them on mindset, growth, accountability. I also have a second business with a friend of mine, Angie Nelson, a photographer from Maui, called Business as an Adventure, where we have a business course. We have pre-built workflows for people's CRMs and everything else. So if it has to do with the non-camera stuff, brain and business, that's generally what I work on these days.
That's awesome. I love it. So, all right, my first question, what is the thing, like if you had to pinpoint one thing that you think most creatives struggle with in their business, like what is that thing? What do you see everyone come to you with, like, this is a problem?
So this is a big issue, and this isn't just creatives. I think this is just humans in general, but very specifically, I work with creatives, and the thing that I see time and time and time again, it boils down to not feeling like they're good enough. Not necessarily at the photography part, but often at valuing themselves, or uh, believing that they're worthy or that they deserve success. There's less a fear of failure in creatives than there is a fear of success. Creatives are really good at throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks, to trying different things out, starting new projects all the time, things like that. But when it comes to actually like the follow through and making those dreams a reality, that's where I see that not good enough piece coming in, and people really struggling with that. And so I didn't know that when I first started. When I first started, it was mostly methodology that I worked on. Like, here's how you market, here's what you need nuts and bolts for a website, here's how to do album and print sales, all of those types of things, which is important. Methodology is important. But the thing that I've realized now 5 years in is that the mindset and the motivation is definitely more the lacking piece. And so my practice has definitely shifted into that. And that's the stuff that really lights me up, and that I really work with people on, not being able to charge enough because they don't value themselves, or not being able to start a new genre or start a new style of photography or really edit the way that they want to edit because they doubt themselves. We externalize and say, well, I don't think the market wants that, but the market wants everything. The market wants whatever we can throw at it. There's always going to be somebody out there who wants to buy what you have to sell. We're the ones that self-sabotage that more often than not. So that's is a big complex thing kind of boiled down. But yeah, that's definitely the main thing that I see.
That is self-sabotage for sure. That is
Yeah.
something that I am very much guilty of. I think many of us are. And I did want to just shout out here, anyone in the comments, you guys are more than welcome to ask questions and interact with us if you have any business questions, concerns, anything like that. That's fantastic. Now I'm going to ask you a piece of advice from somebody, from a user. I found a user of Aftershoot in a Facebook group, and they were asking some questions about how to avoid the burnout. So they were culling, they were editing, everything was good. They had AI behind them, but they still were overbooking, still couldn't say no, still just all of those things. How do you, as a photographer, what would be your advice to somebody who is just feeling the burnout? How do you just go through with the confidence to say, and I have this problem too, or had this problem, but how do you go through that confidence phase of saying, okay, I need to take on less work? I have all the tools at my disposal, but managing 50 different weddings a year is still overwhelming in and of itself. How do you transition out of that? How do you make it so that you're not literally hanging on by a thread?
Yeah, we were talking about this in my mastermind call this morning, and something that I always say is, if you don't prioritize your health, your burnout will do it for you. And one of my clients recently ended up hospitalized from burnout. So burnout is a real thing that is going to happen, and it's, for a lot of us, it's a when, not an if. You have to prioritize it by shifting what you consider your model of success. A lot of creatives, we say yes to so many things out of a place of scarcity or fear or lack, usually around money. We're going to say yes to everything because we need to get more gigs, because we need to get more money, because we need more money. And money is one of those things that is super important. Don't get me wrong. We need to have it to live. My mortgage isn't going to get paid on exposure or hugs, but we need to have a reframed idea of what success looks like for us. One of the things that I do, a lot of people come to me, and the initial couple of conversations are around burnout, around bad boundaries, around not being able to say no. And so one of the things that we do is we do sort of a future visioning exercise of, if everything goes right between now and 5 years from now, I want you to write down end to end, from wake up to sleep, what an average Tuesday would look like if everything goes perfectly in your life. So if you have all the money that you could want, and your business is doing well, and your health is doing well, and your family is doing well, write that all out. And invariably, when I have clients do this, they are barely working. They're not working all the time. They are barely working. They are doing enough and making more. So work less, make more. And so they take that as the goalpost now. That's where they're going towards. Instead of having tons and tons and tons of money, you have that money, but it's coming from a richer, more balanced life, because you actually have, you know what you're doing with that money. Whether it's, okay, we have, a better house, or we have, my kids have a college fund, or whatever it is. There is a purpose for that money. Money is a dragon that never chases. Whenever someone's like, I want to make $1 million, they make $1 million, and they're like, well, now I want to make $10 million, and they make 10, and now I want to make $50 million. Like, it's an insatiable thirst. So you have to know what you want to do with that first. And so once we can identify that piece, Then the other piece of getting rid of that burnout is building systems and automations, creating policies in your life and in your business to protect yourself. Creatives love doing creative work. We're going to say yes to lots of different things, but we also have to learn to say no to the things that are not leading us towards our goals. And so you have a decision branch tree. If I say yes to this, is that leading me toward my goal or is that leading me away from my goal? If your goal is to spend more time with family, which for most people I work with who have been in business for 5 to 10 years, that becomes their goal. Not tons of money, not fame, not anything else like that, because they probably burnt themselves out getting to that point. It becomes now, I want to spend more time with my family, with my friends. I want to relax more. So when they get a new gig come in, is this going to take away from that, or is this going to give me the opportunity to do that? If you hadn't hit your financial goal for the year, maybe it's going to help for that because you have a vacation planned where you're going to take all of December and January off to spend time with your family. So, you know, you need to make the money now. And so it's just reshifting and reframing how you view success and what it is that you actually want out of your life. And then making policy in that way. Policy is the best thing for business because if it's like, I have clients who they just don't take sessions on weekdays because it's important for them to go to their family's football game or go to swim meet or do whatever else like that. And so they have a policy. If a shoot comes in and says, can you do Thursday night? They say, no, sorry, I have a business policy that I do not work on weeknights so I can spend time with my family. If you are available on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, I would love to be able to work with you. And it takes the stress off that decision because this is a policy in your business as opposed to a decision that you have to make every time that comes in. So that's the biggest advice for burnout is reframe your success, systematize as much as possible, automate with things like Aftershoot as much as possible, and really know what it is that you're trying to get out of life and business.
That's amazing. So, all right. So let's say I reframe and I've set my goals, right? I've gone through some coaching and I'm here and I want to do what I want to do. Now, how would you coach somebody through, because I think we hear this all day, right? I need to charge more. I'm not worth more, right? How do you make that leap? How do you push somebody into that space? Like for me, that was the I still struggle with this, right? As in my wedding photography business, I'm like, I want to make $5,000 per wedding or $6,000 per wedding, right? I set my goals, but then I always walk backwards because I'm like, I'm not worthy, right? How can I be that person? How can I build that confidence in myself to do that?
Yeah, step one is working on that I'm not worthy piece. Um, I have these three questions that I ask a lot of my clients when we're doing that mindset piece, right? Because mindset is some of the things that we all suck at. And so one of the questions that I have them, or the three questions I have them ask is what do I believe is possible? What do I believe I am capable of? And then the most important piece, what do I believe I deserve? Because if you believe you deserve to have higher paying clients, then you will feel less icky about charging more money. The other thing is it doesn't all have to be on the initial fee, right? A lot of people, when we think, okay, I'm gonna charge more for my clients, and so they pay $5,000. That's what it says on my website. You know, starting point is $5,000. You get this bullet point list of items. That can be really hard to swallow for a lot of photographers because now that number is bigger. You're going to get a lot more ghosts because that number is bigger and so on. So another thing that you can do is build sales into your process. And I know I just felt every photographer out there cringe when I said the word sales. But it doesn't have to be a gross process. It can be really, really straightforward and simple. So like one of the things that we did back in 2016 was we made albums mandatory in each of our client packages, excuse me, and only included 20 pages. So everybody got a book. And if they ever said, oh, can we take it out to save money? We say, no, we're paying for that. We're going to cover the cost on that. That's our wedding gift to you. You get it no matter what. That book is just going to be in your hands, and we have reasons why and all these stories that we tell of why an album is important. But then right up front, we also say, but after the wedding, we're going to pre-design your book to however many pages it best suits the story of your day. And then we're going to get together on a call, or I'm going to come to your house. You're going to come to my studio, whatever. And we're going to walk through that album, and you get the final say on how that book works. And by doing that, all of a sudden, we had an average sale of between, at that point in time, probably between $1,500 and $3,000 additional on top of our wedding packages, because people wanted to have bigger books. They knew that they were getting this. We talked about it through the whole time. They know the prices. We're not hiding anything. We're being very transparent with the process. In the 8 years since or 7 years, I don't know, I can't math, since we started doing that, we've only ever had 3 people get the base book. Everybody else has added pages. And some people have, like, we design an 80-page album and then they add 20 pages because they want to have a full 100-page book and everything else like that. And so we realized very quickly we can keep our upfront cost low by having this sales process, adding on wall art, adding on albums, doing all the rest of this in a way that was authentic to our business. But now we're making, instead of getting paid $5,000 for a shoot, now we're making $9,000 or $10,000 or $11,000 per session doing this. And all of a sudden we could cut our wedding commissions in half. And it just gave us a lot more freedom. So when you're thinking about charging more, don't think about it just has to be upfront. There are other ways that you can add revenue streams into your business in order to do that. The other thing that we did is we took out free engagement sessions, because we were good enough that we didn't need the engagement session to make a relationship with the client. We can do that in that first consult and really, really tie them in. And B, we didn't need it for practice. So if they wanted to do an engagement session, they had to add it on top. Now, the other thing is where we are, they have to drive out to the mountains for an engagement session. So like, this wasn't just like an hour and a half on a Tuesday night. Like, this was a 6-7 hour experience. And so we knew that it was taking so much time away from us. So we set a policy. It is not included. It has to be added on. And we eventually got to the point that like an engagement session is $2,500 and people pay it. If you believe it, they'll pay it. If you are not cringing when you slide that proverbial price across the table, people will believe that the value is there. So
Yeah,
there's a lot of different ways you can look at it, but it starts with believing that you're worth it. That's the number one piece. When I have clients increase their price and they're like, it's not working, nobody's biting, we go back to the drawing board and say, how do you feel about it? And invariably they're like, I don't feel comfortable about it. And I'm like, yeah, your clients know. If you're not comfortable with that price, they will not be comfortable with that price. So that's the number one piece. But then there's a million different ways to make money.
No, that's fantastic. And I will just say, so I recently partnered with UAF Labs. They're a Canadian lab. If you use the code Justin, you get a discount. But I essentially, what I did is something similar. So I don't offer all of my clients' albums, right? But what I started doing is upselling my albums through this system. So I said, okay, here is your, 20-page album that you are getting included. Here is the baseline, album. You get 3 choices. You have, your black, white, or gray leather cover. But here is, I made a nice little document. Here is all of the amazing things I can offer you. Here's cover options, books, parent albums, boxes, all of these other pieces. And, UAF for me, it's very cost effective, and they have a huge variety of cover options, like, 70 cover options or something crazy. Right. And so I was able to literally walk in and say, you can have nothing essentially in this album, right? You can have the most basic album. And since I've started doing that, it's been like, 1 out of 10 just sticks with the baseline, and everybody else is like, yeah, I want thicker pages because you showed me thicker pages are really beautiful, right? And I want that luxury. And it may be a small upgrade, but those upgrades, they add up, right? I may make an extra $1,000 on some of these clients just by upselling them on a prettier album or a more, unique album that, doesn't cost me much more money, right? The difference is maybe $20, $30 to use a different cover. but they're going to pay me an extra $400 for that cover because they want it. They see something unique about it. And that's actually kind of how I got past that. So I'm glad to hear it. But just from what you said, that's something that, a mandatory album is a genius idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. It just makes so much sense. Like you can definitely, and saying, hey, you can't take it out. That's something that was something that I dealt with engagement sessions. So I used to do exactly like you said, free engagement sessions for everybody. I wanted to get involved with them, using them, whatever it may be, just having that interaction. But I was like, yeah, 100%. That's what I am. And then all of a sudden I was like, you know what? People are asking to take it out and discount the pricing. And all I could do was say, yes.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. It's a fee. It's a service you don't want, whatever it may be. So then I started charging for engagement sessions. Album, you can change that. It's just a fact of the matter. You buy it, you get in. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Saying it as a gift was hands down the easiest thing to do. And then also like the thing that sells more albums for us than anything else is say, hey, if you don't want the album, that's fine. This book is not for you. This book is for the people who aren't born yet. This is for your kids and their kids. They want to see your wedding day. You got to live it. You can remember that. Maybe you print some 4x6s and put them on the wall, but this book is for them. And as soon as you say that, people like sort of sit back and go, oh, because your kids are not going to dig a USB drive out of the box in grandpa's attic and try to find something to plug it into. But if there's a book there, it's so easy for them to just flip through it.
Absolutely. It is such an effort. And I have a ton of just CDs and hard drives and things. And like, it's monumentally difficult to even want to open any of that up. So it's just like you said, I can flip through. Actually, unfortunately, I had a close friend from my childhood pass away pretty recently. And for me, it was like, just flipping through pictures. I have those pictures. That's super easy. I have videos of him. I have the X, Y, and Z. I'm not going to open them up, but it just doesn't resonate as being able to hold something physical and be like, yeah, okay, this is the picture. I'm going to scan it or whatever. It's there. It's easy to use.
Yeah. And this is something, by the way, before we get to this question, because I think it's a good question. This is something that you can do for your past clients as well. If you want to make more money right now, start pre-designing albums for past clients. Just pre-design 4 pages and then send out an email to them and say, hey, you never got an album. And I feel like I did a disservice by not getting that book in your hands. So I'm doing a sale right now for, 30% off books as long as you get 30 pages or something else like that. And you email all of your past clients and you go through this. I had a client who made 26 grand in 1 month this year by emailing past clients and getting books in their hands. So you could just use like something like Fundy Designer and auto design 4 pages so they get an idea of what it looks like. And you just send them that in a PDF, but say, hey, I want to do it. This is how much it costs. This is what the process looks like. And I need you to get a book in your hands. If you've got dozens or hundreds of past clients, if even 15% of them purchase from you, that could be thousands and thousands of dollars that you're now getting as an influx. This is a great winter project. Maybe not right now for the North Americans who are up to their eyebrows in editing, but do this from like January to March every year for anybody who didn't get printed product. And it can be huge.
That's brilliant. Again, if you use UAF Lab and use the code Justin, 15% off. So if you stack up an entire month of albums, you can use my 15% off code, right? And essentially that cost just keeps dragging down further and further. So that more profit in your pocket. It's brilliant. I know what I'm going to do this winter. To get me through that slow money season, right?
Yeah, I mean, why not just make 30 grand in the wintertime just sitting in your sweatpants?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. So I had to post this question up because I think this is amazing. So Pete wants to know, what is the best way to market yourself as a creator? I'm the worst businessman, not just for weddings, but overall photographer. How do you create new business leads, marketing, SEO, social? What would you say?
Okay. So first thing, self-talk, Pete. Do not say you are the worst businessman, because if you say it, you're going to believe it. You can just add a small word on the end there to completely change it. I am the worst businessman right now, or I'm not the best business person yet. change the way that we speak ourselves. It has been proven. This is not just me being a woo person. This is proven in science. The way that we speak about ourselves in our minds, it becomes our reality. So first off, just take that out of the sentence. Second thing, marketing is hard and marketing sucks. And most people struggle at marketing. I would say probably 90% of people, that's the biggest problem that they come to me with is, I'm not marketing. I'm not getting enough leads. How do I get more business? So this is common. You are not alone in this. How can I sum this up very quickly? Okay, so 3 things. 1, marketing is about path of least resistance. If it sucks, you won't do it. So you gotta follow processes that work for you. Like my wife and I did not like Instagram. We have run a successful wedding photography business for 14 years with basically no Instagram. I think we make about 6 posts a year, and it's usually just when we have a photo that we just really, really love, we will make that post. You do not need to be on Instagram to have a successful photography business. If you love Instagram, great. It's a good marketing platform. Point number 2, you need 3 ways to market your business. The reason why you want 3 ways is because we don't control how all of those work at the same time. If you're only marketing on Instagram and they change their algorithm like they do all the time, gone. Your marketing disappears overnight if they change the algorithm. You got to relearn the game and figure out how to do it again. So if Instagram is one of them, that's great. You should also have a good referral base. Referrals work really well. I did a project a couple years ago. I emailed 200 photographers around the world, every continent, Africa, I guess not every continent, nobody in Antarctica, but 6 of the 7 continents. And one of the questions I asked is, what is your most effective form of marketing? And word of mouth or referrals was hands down the number 1. So have a good referral base, treat your clients well. And how you get a good referral base is having good client experience. If you treat people well, they will want to refer you to others. The second piece about that good referral base is ask. Ask for referrals. Ask people. Don't be afraid to email past clients and say, hey, I really loved working with you. You guys were absolutely amazing. I liked this and I liked this and I liked this. If there's anybody else in your life who is like you, I would love to speak with them and maybe photograph their family or photograph their wedding. Not asking for referrals is leaving money on the table. It's not cringy. It's not bad. It's not bad to ask people for referrals. Small business referrals are our lifeblood. We need that sort of thing. So do not be afraid to ask. And then when you have those 3 forms, so let's say you've got Instagram as 1 and referrals is number 2, figure out what your number 3 is. There's a great book out there that talks about 19 different ways to market your business. It's summed up in a blog post. I'll throw it here so Justin can share it out on the thing. But there's 19 different ways to market your business. This book talks in more depth about all of these, but he says in that book as well to choose 3. I've been saying choose 3 for about a decade, so I feel like I got out ahead of the curve on that book, but he backs up my knowledge. But you have 3 different ways. So the third one could be, wedding shows, or the third one could be SEO, or the third one could be having really good relationships with vendors and venues. That's our third thing. Our third thing is venues. We get 90% of our inquiries direct from hotels because we've made great friends with these hotels over the years, 2 in the mountains that we just love working at. We give them photos all the time. We always check in, see how they're doing. We check in the wintertime and say, hey, are you updating your website? Do you need us to resend that gallery? Just staying top of mind. And because of that, they send people our way. So the last point, these 3 points. So number 1, change your mindset. Number 2, have 3 forms of marketing. Number 3 is this is an everyday exercise. Photographers love to be busy and then not busy. And the reason our businesses go like this is because we market and we get lots of inquiries and then we shoot all that stuff and stop marketing and then we have no inquiries. So get in the habit of having marketing exercises happen every day or every week. If you're going to blog, write a blog post once a week or 2 times a month or something like that. If you're going to Instagram 3 to 5 times a week, you want to get out there. If you're going to be doing a referral-based business, be touching base with your clients, staying top of mind on a weekly or monthly basis. This is an all the time exercise. Coca-Cola is one of the most recognizable brands on the planet. they still advertise. Like there's no one on earth who doesn't know what Coke is, but there is still plenty of advertising for Coke out there because we all have the memories of goldfish. And so we have to be, we never know when someone's ready to buy. If it's in front of us, we will buy. So you need to be top of mind. That's the number one thing with marketing is it doesn't have to be sales. You don't have to be selling anybody anything. You just have to be top of mind, providing value, being present. So those are the three things. That's marketing in a small nutshell, Pete. Hopefully that helps.
That was a fantastic answer. And I am going to double down on one of the marketing sources that has been absolutely incredible for my business, which was networking with the venues. I think that is absolutely one of the most overlooked things. When I go photograph a wedding at a venue, the most important thing to me is my amazing clients. The number two most important thing is making sure that the venue is happy with what I'm doing. They're getting beautiful photos. I'm respecting the timelines put forth. I am always just constantly working with them to make sure that we're on the same team. And what that leads to is them wanting to put me on a preferred vendors list almost every time, right? Every time I go to a venue, I make sure I take one photo that showcases how amazing this bride and groom look in front of their venue, right? And it's for them, right? I want them to remember their venue, but at the same time, it's for the venue because the venue is going to remember that and say, yes, that photo should be on the cover of the book or the album or whatever we show our clients, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so for that, just like you said, 90% of my referrals, that's my referral system, right? I stopped asking for clients for referred vendors or referrals to their friends. Their friends will find me through social media and those sort of things when they see their wedding photos and they're getting married. So that's one big thing for me is the referrals actually are coming mostly from venues. The other thing I do at weddings in particular is I go through and I actually photograph every single couple who's sitting at a table together. That is my other referral system because
Mm-hmm.
I make sure that I approach every table during dinner and I look for everyone sitting next to each other, whether it's a family, whether it's a couple. And I ask them if they want a picture, I'll take your photos. And I make a little joke, something funny, right? If they're still eating their salad or something when I'm going to do it, I say, oh, don't worry. I'm here. I'm here all night. It's fine. Right. And they laugh and they say, oh, he's so funny. Right. But that sticks with them. And they're like, yeah, I want that guy to shoot my wedding, my family session, whatever it is. So it's just, again, another natural referral. I say, hey, you can go access the couple will have all these photos, but here's my card just in case you want to, email me for this picture later, whatever it is. Right. And so again, just adding those little touch points with potential clients that make them feel comfortable or happy with you, it just goes so much further. And I actually see Marietta saying the same thing. DJs too. I do it, DJs, florists. I'll take pictures of their flowers and whatnot. But one thing I started doing when I love a DJ, I am sticking off camera flash and taking a really cool photo of a DJ. Maybe I'll put some like gel on a flash and uplight behind them to make them stand out. And I photograph them through the crowd. So I show a full dance floor of silhouettes in front of them, DJ. I'll let them know like, hey, pretend like you're doing some cool stuff or whatever it is, right? And then it's just another touch point, right? It's coordinators, it's every single person. You have a nice photo of them, they're going to share it on their social media. And even if they didn't like you that much, they're going to tag you, right? And then you have that again, it's just being viral. So
yeah.
and then
One thing I'll add on to that too is if you're using a gallery delivery software like PicTime or PixieSet or ShootProof or something else like that, you can pre-create your gallery, share that with the couple. They'll put it on their wedding website so that people can find the link there. But you can also create like a little QR code that you just stick up on the bar that says, hey, if you're looking for the photos after the wedding, this is where they'll be. And then people are going to go there. Most of these, they require them to put their email in or anything else like that. And so then they'll get the notification when the gallery goes live. So that way you don't have to worry about them like, are they going to remember 6 gin and tonics deep that I took that photo? And then are they going to remember, 8 weeks from now when I'm delivering that gallery that it's out there? If you get out ahead of the plan and they have that on their phone already, or it's like in their mind, they're going to be more likely to go drop their email in there for the reminder, and then be notified, and then they'll go and they'll download that photo. Maybe they'll buy a print of it if you do a good enough job, and then boom, there's even more revenue in your pocket.
Absolutely. Um, and I did see Pete had a follow up. Just how do you get on these lists? A lot of it just comes from taking that beautiful photo, building that connection with them, right? So make a connection with your with the coordinator, whoever it may be. Sometimes it's not instant. There is one venue by me. I am now like best friends with them, but it took me about a year of just being there and constantly every time I was there, hey, how are you? How's the puppy? How's the kids? Whatever it is, right? Just started
Mm-hmm.
building a relationship with them and gaining their trust, because a lot of it does come down to trust. These venues, if you're photographing a wedding, they're serving food to 150 people. So if it's your fault because you ran late on pictures, right? It automatically detracts from how much they want you to be there, because they say, "Oh, we're late and now I have 150 steaks sitting getting cold waiting for this photographer to come in so that the bride and groom can be introduced and all of that sort of stuff." So, there's something to be said for also just the problem solving behind it. It's a lot of what I do. Like, I will look for opportunities. If I see that it is 6 p.m. we were supposed to be done with photos, I will aim for 5:50 to have the bride and groom back with the venue coordinator.
Yeah.
Right. And if it means that I need extra time later, I talk to the bride and groom about it up front, right? When we're doing pictures and I'm saying, hey, you know what? Sunsets at 8 o'clock. Can we cut our photo session short a little bit and try and get ahead of schedule? And then I'll just take you out for 10 minutes later when nothing's going on. That way, all the events happen when they're supposed to happen. You guys get to eat. Everything's good, right? I'll upsell them in person on the idea of it. And they're like, yeah, absolutely. We love that. That's fantastic. We'd love to get done a little bit early and then take pictures later, right? And so that, just having that in my pocket, now the venue's like, oh wow, he's ahead of schedule. That's good. That's really good. And then it sticks with them. So,
Yeah.
there's different ways to get on venue lists. But you can
Be of
definitely.
service. That's the number one that I will always say is be of service. Don't ask to go on to a venue's preferred vendor list. Be nice to them. Take their venue coordinator out for a cup of coffee. Ask them if they need photos. If they've just done a remodel, ask them if they need photos of that new space for their website. Just be of service. I'm a firm believer in you should do work for two things: free and full price. And so sometimes that free, if it's for a venue or something like that, can be really, really good. But just being kind goes a long way. We had a wedding coordinator here in town. Their office got broken into. And so I went and bought him a couple bottles of wine, and I brought him, granted, me, because I have a bad sense of humor, the wines were called Padlock and Guard Dog. But I brought the bottles of wine to them. And from that point in time, all of a sudden, now we had a relationship. Now they're starting to refer us weddings and different things. And so just be a person. That's always the thing. Don't think of it as a business transaction. Think of it as being of service.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's about being friends. It's about working with them. It's about being that team player. So yeah, definitely. Again, you don't want to go knock on the door and say, "Hey, I want to be a preferred vendor." You want them to immediately think, "Oh, that was a fantastic experience, and we got beautiful photos," right? And so that combination pushes you so much further, right? Is just having a great personality, being amicable, not being the stick in the mud, right? I know a ton of photographers who are like, I need this, I'm behind schedule, whatever. And I hear from these coordinators, right? I become friends with them because they have dubbed me one of the fastest photographers in Connecticut, right? Because I do that strategy where I'm organized, I get ahead of schedule. They're having their couple back ready to go before they need them, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
that really speaks volumes to them, and they get beautiful photos still, right? So when you put those two pieces together, they love it. But they'll come to me with the horror stories of like, yeah, this guy was like the couple disappeared before dinner was served for 30 minutes. Nobody knew where the photographer was, nobody knew where the couple was, right? They just walked out the door and went and took photos because it was nice light.
Yeah.
And like for me, I will always go to that coordinator and say, hey, the light is beautiful. Can I have them for 10 minutes? And they'll say, yeah, you know what, 10 minutes is totally fine, and we love that idea, right? Or they may come back and say, you know, dinner's coming out soon, is there anything we can do different? And I'll come up with a plan with them. I'll say, you know
Mhm.
what, can we plate dinner 10 minutes early, right? If it's ready, let's get the dinner on the table, let them eat, and I'll delay by 5 minutes, and then
Yeah.
together we come up with a solution. So, there's just different ways, but being amicable, being that friend, again, you don't necessarily need to pry. Some people aren't super into sharing their personal life either. But being able to just, again, build some sort of connection, some relatability, it means that they're more likely to want to include you.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. So we've covered some of the things that you like to teach. What would you recommend to photographers who are, let's say, struggling with some mental health issues from burnout or whatever it may be, right? How do you as a photographer who just has been beaten down, what do you do? How do you recover from that? How do you find the passion, the love for it again?
Yeah. Step one, and this is a hard thing for a lot of entrepreneurs to swallow, especially after the last 10 years rather, is remembering that rest is productive. This is a really hard thing for people to wrap their head around. We believe if we're not producing, then we are not of value or not of worth. But if we aren't rested and in our best shape, then what we are producing isn't great. So, number one, I would say if you have the ability to take some time and get some rest. There's really insane papers coming out of places like Cornell and John Hopkins and whatnot that's talking about how long it actually takes to recover from burnout. They're saying a minimum of 6 months now, and it could be up to 2 years. If you're really suffering from like adrenal depletion, it can take a long, long time. So this isn't like, oh, I'm going to go take a 3-day vacation and then come back. You really need to make big changes to your life to really start taking better care of yourself. The other piece to remember is that we don't have energy, we make energy. So sleep well, eat well, go for a walk every day. For me, I need to go for what I call my stupid mental health walk every morning. It makes me feel better getting out in the woods and feeling better. I never want to do it, especially in the winter. I live in Canada. I don't want to do it, but it always makes me feel better. So take care of yourself. Do that, number one. Number two, we're creatives. Make something for the joy of making something. Learn to play again. It doesn't have to have a producible value. Take photos because you love taking photos. It doesn't need to go on Instagram. It doesn't need to become a print store. It doesn't need to be doing all of these things. It can just be for the joy of it. Go do some street photography. Take photos of your kids. Take photos of your dogs. Like I remember, Laney and Erica Mann are good friends of mine. They live near Canmore. We've known them for a long time. And they were really, really feeling overwhelmed at the state of, they had won all the Fearless Awards and done all of this. And they're like, now what? And then they just started taking photos of their kids. And that's where Man's Around the World was born. And they were reinvigorated with their photography because they started just doing something because they loved their kids and they wanted to take photos of their kids. And it became a personal project. They never made a book out of it. They don't, do anything. It's just for them. It's for their kids to have these documented images. So rest, take good care of yourself, create for the joy of it, not for a side hustle. Those things are going to start. The other things that I will definitely say can be helpful is being in a group of other creatives can be really good to realize that you're not alone in how you're feeling. That can be really good, whether that's just a local community that you go for a coffee shop date once a month or an online group or whatever. And the last piece that I cannot speak to enough is if you're really feeling it, get therapy, get professional help, go see somebody about it. I can talk until I'm blue in the face about what you need to do, but I have a therapist because we all need help every now and again. So the strongest thing you can do when you're feeling weak is ask for help. You don't have to do it on your own. You don't need to control every aspect of your life. Let it breathe a little bit, get some help, take care of yourself, because burnout doesn't just go away. You can't outwork burnout. It just gets worse. So really take stock of your mental health and how you're feeling. Play, breathe, create.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to say something super awesome about aftershoot, because that's what I do. Uh, that's what I've been using culling and editing for the most now. So I just started taking photos of for the first time in years of my kids again, right? And I'm reinvigorated. I've done more different photography sessions than in the past 3 months just to play with after shoots, culling and editing than I have done in the past 10 years, right? So since
Mhm.
2016, I really haven't done much personal photography. It's been work, 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 work. And so now I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna take some pictures of, like, things that I don't have to, and I have no, I just want to print them because I want to print them. They're just pictures that I like to take, and that's why I started photography. I didn't join it to start a business. I joined it because I wanted to take pictures of things that I enjoy taking pictures of. So there's a little bit of reinvigoration in that. Again, not here to just pitch after shoot, but just
Yeah.
literally it's a tool that gives me, again, not paying per image and that sort of stuff means that, like, I can just go play with it, right? I can just take pictures that they don't have to go on social media. They don't have to go be sold or done any. I'm not building some iPhone case store or something, right? I'm literally just like, I'm gonna take pictures of squirrels. I literally quoted this the other day. I was like, I started taking pictures of squirrels. I will do nothing with these photos, but I'm having a really great time taking pictures of squirrels, right? Just waiting for them
Yeah.
to do something in my backyard. And that's enough for me to kind of recover. And I think these past few years, they've been really traumatic for photographers, right? We went from, oh my God, I have no income, life is terrible, to, wow, okay, the government may help me a little bit with some income, right? So I can at least be stable, to, oh my God, I have two wedding seasons in one, right? So, like, this has been a traumatic time to be a wedding photographer or a photographer in general. So I think we all are kind of just reeling emotionally, and from burnout, from all of the different stuff. So, again, finding those tools that can help you recover, or work with it. Uh,
Yeah. I'm,
it's
I'm a big believer in outsourcing. I love outsourcing, whether it's to AI or to anything else. Like, we use Aftershoot in our business and love it. And like, there's other ways you can outsource too. This is a friend of mine used to say, one of the things that I really hate doing is laundry. I hate it. I hate doing laundry. So I want to outsource my laundry, and then it's, during that time every week that I'm not doing laundry, I'm not folding, I'm not drying, I'm not switching things between, he would take an additional engagement session every single week, because he's like, now I'm making money during that time and I don't have to do this laundry. So yeah, if you're feeling overwhelmed, ask what you can let go of. And especially over these last couple of years, if you're, a lot of photographers I know are cash flush right now because they have so many weddings and so many shoots. Like, lean into something like aftershoot for your culling and editing. Lean into other ways that you can unload some of that mental strain and mental effort. And I wanted to talk one last thing about, if you're taking photos of your kids or you're taking photos of yourself. um, the science proves that you are happier if you have photos of you in your home. Your kids are more confident if there's photos of them on the wall, everything else like that. So take photos of your life, take photos of your family, take photos of your parents, take photos of your nieces and nephews, and share those photos with them, and do it just for the joy of making the world a better place.
Absolutely. That's such amazing advice. So this conversation was amazing. We are going to take about 3 more minutes. So I don't want to take your whole day, but I would like, if anyone has any questions, start dropping them in. We'll keep going on questions if we've got them. So if you have questions, ask them. But what I wanted to do is talk a little bit about Dave Moss coaching. So you are, as we have introduced you before, a coach, a business coach. You've told us all these amazing things. So tell us how they find you. I will drop some comments in here. What do they expect when hiring Dave Moss? What do you do? How does it work? Do I zoom in? What is it all about?
Yeah, so there's a couple of different ways to work with me. The easiest is just to go to davemosscoach.com. It's where everything sort of lands. People work with me or with my knowledge in a couple of different ways. One, I have a business course. It's a pace yourself course. It's about 16 plus hours of video content plus a 226 page workbook. Like this is deep stuff that myself and my business partner Angie Nelson put together in 2021. It is everything that we know about running a photography business. It is automated workflows. It is culling and editing, not the actual doing of it, but like how to systematize it so it's better in your life. Everything you need for a website. It's marketing, it's mindset, it's sales numbers, the whole kit and caboodle. If you're just looking for like foundational business help, that's the first place I would say to start. There's links to that on my website. That it goes off to another website called businessasanadventure.com. I also have 2 weekly mastermind groups. This is for growth and accountability, because after 5 years of working with my clients, I reached out to all of my past clients and said, hey, what's the number one thing that was missing from our process? And they all said, I need you to kick me in the ass more. I needed to actually do the homework that you set out for me so that I got it done and I made progress. And so I created these mastermind groups. So one on Monday afternoons, one on Wednesday mornings. And if I get more people in, I'll just keep adding them. But it is a group coaching session where people come in together, they form a community. We talk about what's going on in your life and your business. We sort of collaborate together to help you get through those roadblocks. And then you tell me what you're working on that week. And then the next week you come in the call and I say, hey, did you finish what you're working on? Because I wrote it down. So that's the number one. That's the easy way in. The second piece is one-on-one coaching. This is the real meat and potatoes. If you really want to up level your life and your business, then the one-on-one coaching is the way to do it. It is self-paced. It's month to month. Most of my clients will do a call either once a month or every 2 weeks, but we could go weekly if you want. These are deep dive calls. They're an hour and a half, 2 hours each. It's one-on-one, you and me, whatever you need. And we really work through that. I've had some clients that we've been doing one-on-one calls every week or every 2 weeks for 4 years. And their business has completely changed and their life has completely changed. And we just go on this journey together. So those are sort of the 3 ways: if self-run course, mastermind group, and then the one-on-one coaching.
I love it. Pete came back with another great comment. Would Aftershoot sponsor a group meet like this again? Yeah, we love everything that we can offer to our users, right? So we want to make sure that as photographers, we can hopefully, give you time back. That's our main concern and goal, is that AI culling, AI editing, giving you time back. But ultimately, we're here for you guys. We want to be a service. We have access to so many amazing people like Dave. So, when you guys say, hey, we want to learn something or get some more, info out of this, we're always happy to do that. So I think what Pete is asking is, Dave, will you come back again and we can talk more about business? Because this was absolutely fantastic. We're really, really grateful to have you here and, just learn just a sliver. You're so much knowledge. I remember I've seen you present multiple times now, right? So just every time I leave one of your talks, I am always just flabbergasted and excited and rejuvenated. So definitely, please do check out businessasanadventure.com. I did typo that when I showed it before. It's not is, it's as, businessasanadventure.com. And you'll get some really awesome stuff there for just, again, some alternate ways to speed up workflows with CRMs, etc. And then also, DaveMossCoach.com. That is where you can go find Dave himself, the man, the legend. And you can absolutely sign up for one of these mastermind classes, right? Just being able to have some accountability in your business. It's something that I think all of us as photographers do struggle with, right? It's easy to say, I'm going to do this. And just like you said, it's easy to take an initiative, start it off, but then let it fall off and die, right? So we're very, very easy to work hard and then not work as hard, or, build an initiative and find results and then not continue with it because it was successful for a couple months. So having somebody here to just kind of kick you in the butt is super helpful. And if you are just in dire need of just some really good one-on-one business stuff, this is your place to go, right? Dave can definitely help you with that. I've had calls with him before and it's been amazing. So it can just change your life. So if you're looking for anything business, you've met the man and now you know who you're going to go to. So on behalf of Aftershoot, I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining us, Dave. It's been absolutely amazing having you here. And we're excited. We hope to have you back again soon. And
anytime. Yeah.
Love it. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll see you all on the next live stream. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.